Welcome back, people. Listen, I have the first Ashley Sharpton, right? I mean, really? Wasn't she amazing? She's absolutely a gift. She is absolutely a gift. But now I get to talk to the only person who I get advice from. Normally, I don't get advice from people because I don't let people give me advice. But Dr. Jeff could give you advice. I like Dr. Jeff. Matter of fact, he was on in the summer, and I just loved having him on. He is so thoughtful, funny, and good at what he does. You know, I know a gift when I see one, and Dr. Jeff is as gifted as it comes. Welcome to the show tonight, the one and only. You know him, Dr. Jeff. What's up, Doc?
Dr. Sean, thank you. Thank you for such a great interview that you did with Miss Sharpton. She was like amazing. And, I've known her for a couple of years too. I know that she was in the background of that family, but I believe she was incubating that whole time because her time is now. She's out of the shell. And that was very inspiring. So thank you for that.
I love the concept of incubating. I think that describes her perfectly. Because you're absolutely right. Those of us who've known her, we've known that the Ashley we saw tonight is not the Ashley we met.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So listen, I want to focus on you because I so enjoyed having you on the last time. And so first, thank you for coming back. Let me just say that clearly.
Thank you.
Yeah, those other shows you went on this network, it's not the same. Not the same.
My favorite, and I'm telling the truth. This is my favorite. So
welcome home, Dr. Jeff. So here it is. What I want to know, I'm gonna ask you some Dr. Jeff questions, and then I'm gonna let you do some work with you, let you help some people. So here's my first Dr. Jeff question. What are you embracing in 2021? What things are you welcoming into your life, into your spirit?
Really saying goodbye to 2020 with regard to what happened politically. I really feel like we got rid of a cancer. Now it's trying to keep that cancer from coming back. But I really saw, Dr. Sean, a lot of people who were used and abused from all spectrums, from all races, whether they were supporters of a particular leader, whether they were Black or brown people. People were really abused. People were used. And so I'm looking forward to a lot of healing in 2021. But this is something that we've all got to do together. All of the races, all of the cultures, all of the disciplines, all of the religions.
Yeah, you're right about that. I was going to ask Ashley about Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump enablers, and I didn't get around to asking her the question. But I'll mention what I was going to get to with her to you, and that being, I wish it was the case that all of us progressives, all of us who are on the side of progressive politics and running in a certain, I wish we could just pick up the country and just run in that direction. But the reality is this is a very diverse nation, and we're living with people who have a diversity of opinion, diversity of gender, race, sexual orientation, go down the list, right? Identities. We can't just leave these people, right?
These people have a lot of issues, a lot of conflicts. They've been lied to. They've been enabled. Their mental health has been taken advantage of.
Oh, that's good. Dr. Joe, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want you to drill down on that because I've not heard anybody talk about that more seriously. Can you drill down on that?
Yeah, when I looked at the siege on the Capitol and I saw how some of those people were dressed, some of the things they were saying, some of the things they were doing. I'm not making any excuses. It was inexcusable. It was wrong. We saw white supremacy. We saw a lot of disenfranchised people. But I also saw a lot of those people as being psychologically vulnerable. They were easily led. They were lied to. They continue to be lied to. And they are pushed further into a state of delusion, insecurity, anger, and hate. And all those things to me, Dr. Sean, all of those things are mental health issues. And I believe in this time that racism, the way that it's been used, racism has become a public health crisis and hurts everyone in its wake.
Okay, the more you say, the more I need you to drill down. I got 1 minute left. Tell me how racism has become a public health crisis.
It's a public health crisis in that it has people acting out based on false ideas based on things that are not part of reality. But it also has hurt Black and brown people who have been re-traumatized over and over again. When we as Black and brown people looked at what was happening at the Capitol, I know a lot of people, their post-traumatic stress just really just came back because we've lived that so many times before, so many generations, and each and every day.
No, you're absolutely right. I got to take a break, but you're absolutely right. When I watched what happened on January 6th, all I could think about was pizza. because that's my default run to for comfort. It was traumatizing. Like, what in the hell is going on? And so you're absolutely right. Racism as a public health crisis. And I love what you just gave us, that for a lot of these people, their mental health issues or mental health state was taken advantage of. And that is probably one of the greatest sins that Donald Trump committed against America. He manipulated people in a lot of instances who were waiting and willing to be manipulated.
And he did not lead during this COVID crisis. He left us leaderless and so many, 400,000 people that are dead. If something was done earlier on, we would have had much lower numbers. So this is something that we'll be looking at for years and years, and people will have to be held accountable at some point.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm putting Dr. Jeff to work because I brought him here to help us, work on our emotional stuff because, we're going through a lot. We need Dr. Jeff. So we'll be right back. Don't you go nowhere.
I got a new cup that my boyfriend gave me for Christmas. Isn't it so cute?
Cocktails with the Queens, hosted by Claudia Jordan.
Oh, Anderson, oh my God, that's so cute.
Every Monday night.
I want to find out what everybody did for New Year's. Ladies, are y'all ready? Welcome.
Do tell. Well, I got involved in a mean game of Uno at night because, California was like shut down again.
Stream it live on Fox Soul.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Fox Soul presents
Bow Wow was talking about you.
What did he say?
He would purposely mess up the kissing scenes so that he would get to kiss you again.
Oh, really?
Established with Angela Yee.
That's my boy, Love Him to Pieces. When we did Roll Bounce, he was 16 and I was 22. So there was never even a chance or thought ever.
Every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
I didn't know the kissing scene thing, but that's all right, that's all right.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to the one and only Dr. Jeff. Dr. Jeff, I need you to help us because a lot of us are dealing with a lot. And, we're very emotional. It's an emotional time. I just mentioned pizza. How do you deal with times like these? What's the best way to get through it?
Talking. We know that talking it's a catharsis. It allows us to get stuff off of our souls, off of our chests, off of our minds. And Sean, you talk about this all the time. When people are able to commiserate, when they're able to communicate, not only does it bring them closer together, and it's not just about their complaining to one another, but they also begin to generate ideas and coping and empowerment strategies. How do you do this? How do you do that? This works for me. And it's a positivity because it's a connection. In many ways, when we talk about people, for example, being sexually intimate, a couple being intimate, it's not just about the sex, it's about a completion of the communication that brings them so close. And so when people are able to talk to one another and able to share things that are so difficult for them that they are going through, it brings them closer together, but it also brings an energy that they combine in order to bring out more positivity and have more hope.
Now, let me ask you this, because you just said something that I thought was quite interesting. Is sex communication?
Sex is definitely communication. It's another way of communicating. And in many ways, I think it's almost the completion of a communication. When you have a couple who are in love, they walk together, they talk together, they hold hands, they raise children, whatever they can do.
So what, Doctor, hold on a second. So what are people saying to each other in sex? During sex, like not literally, what are they saying? Like I like your bald, not that your bald head. No, what is the act saying, communicating?
What they're saying is, we may be two separate people who are in love, but now we are one. It's a combined energy. We become one being, and that is the closest kind of intimacy that one can have. And it's not necessarily about sexual intercourse. It can be spooning, it can be kissing, but it does require having that physical touching and intimacy. It's the completion of all of the communication that we have all the time, and why it's so important and why it's so healthy that there is sexual intimacy in a relationship. And I don't care how old a person becomes with that, that is essential.
No, that's good. That's good, because it makes me think, and we're totally off subject, but it makes me think that people should be very careful what they're saying to the person that they're sleeping with while they're sleeping with them, right? Did I get that right?
No, you got that right. And that's why I know many people who don't call their partners by their first name. They use little names like honey, sugar, sweetheart, because they don't want to mix up any names while they're sleeping.
You always do that. You always have a moment when you come on the show where you totally catch me. And nobody does that, Dr. Jim. Only when you come on the show, you just catch me off guard. I did not see that coming. All right. No more talking about sex because you don't know how to act. let's ask a more practical question. Yes. There's some people right now who have family members, friends, co-workers, people they went to college with. And we're out of the Trump era. We're in the Biden moment or era. But those other people, they were over there. Their politics are different. How can people have hard political conversations, ideological conversations, and not wind up being a serial killer?
Yeah, because it does bring out a lot of anger. And it really is. And I know it's, Occam's razor, which is all about simplicity. But simplicity is the answer. And that means being brave enough to have the conversations, but putting the rules out there in advance. Hey, listen, look for common ground. I'm not going to disrespect you. You don't disrespect me. If there's something I don't agree with, I'll let you know. But I'm going into this conversation to learn. If you're willing to do that with me, then let's talk. If you're not, then let's just keep on stepping.
Yeah, I think it's simple. Anscombe's razor. It's simple, but it's effective. I think you're right about that. I think laying out boundaries is important. And I think people should probably do that when they're not having political conversations, just in general, letting people know what they will and won't do. Listen, I'm going to take a quick break because when I come back, I got a series of questions that I want to ask you in a totally different direction. Because I think we get to hear you, and we're often blessed by you and made better by you. But I want folks to get to know something about you. I want this experience to be a little different for you than it normally is when you do, because you do a million shows and you're always amazing. But I never hear people ask you things about Dr. Jeff. And I want to know a few things about you. So let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Fox Soul presents
The topics are great, but not as great as my co-hosts, Funky Dineva and Al Reynolds.
TGIF.
Hey, Ma, the internet is going crazy that you and I are on the same platform after our history.
Every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Fox Soul is a magical place. Dreams do get made, friendships do get, build back together again. Okay, build you.
On Fox Soul.
They stepped up and enlisted to bravely serve our country. But life is challenging, and sometimes we need a shoulder for support. Two things that should never go together, veterans and homelessness. That's where U.S. Vets comes in. Founded by veterans to uplift veterans. U.S. Vets is an army of professional staff, donors, veterans, and civilian volunteers alike.
U.S. Vets is a home base for opportunity.
The coronavirus has affected the African American community in many ways, including a drastic drop in blood donations. This is the time to take care of one another, and blood transfusions from healthy African American donors can be a life-saving treatment for patients with sickle cell disease or cancer. The American Red Cross adheres to the highest standards of safety and infection control and urges you to come out to donate. Please, make an appointment today at redcrossblood.org.
It's about to be a vibe, y'all.
Tamika Tiny Harris presents The Mix.
Have you ever watched an ex move on social media?
All of my exes, they don't really end up with anybody. So after I leave.
Every Tuesday night.
I always block my exes. I don't want any of that. I just want to get you out of my head.
Mute their stories, but don't block them so they see how good that you're doing without them.
My exes all have fake pages, so I know they're going to see me regardless.
Whoa!
Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to the one and only Dr. Jeff. Dr. Jeff is, you are a household name. People know you. They know your work. You've helped so many people. I mean, I could go down the list of the couples, the celebrities, the scenarios that you've really helped people see things a new way. I watched you on a couple of shows, and people really just were enlightened by the things you're able to say and do. So you're gifted at what you do. And I've always wanted to know two things about you. Here's the first thing I wanted to know about you. When was a time in your life when you needed to make your way back to balance? Like, when were you out of balance?
In my divorce. I was married for 20 years, and I married at the time I was 36. I married someone who was 19, and that's another whole other thing. But because people used to compliment, "Oh, you have such a," and I was like, "You don't know what that's like." But once she grew up and wanted to live her own life, she left. And don't hate the player, hate the game. But I literally had a walking nervous breakdown. I would work all day, and then I would sit at home at night, and I was just an emotional mess. One time I looked at the clock, it said 2:00. I looked back up and it said 9:00. That time went that quickly. I just looked up and the time went that quickly in my head. So I was pretty damaged then, but it taught me a lot about divorce. So when I work with patients, using those memories, using how I built myself back up has been really important in helping me work with people who are going through divorce.
So I gotta ask you, how did you get out of that? How did you work your way back to you?
The Bible. The Bible.
Really? Yeah. See, this is the second time on this show you said something I didn't expect you to say. How? What do you mean by that?
Psalms 31, Psalms 32, Psalms 27, Psalm 91, Psalm 23. I really got into the Psalms. I read the book of Job, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Because I had everything and then I lost everything. But God kept his promise that if I stayed strong, that it would come back. And it did. It did. And as a matter of fact, my ex-wife now is a very good friend. She visits my home, comes to see all of my children, our children, who I raised all the children. She's friends with with my wife now. So it was really about spiritually giving it to God and building myself back up and believing in his word that there would be a peaceful resolution.
First of all, I'm almost stumped with nothing to say, because again, we see you on TV all the time, right? And I don't think I've never seen, maybe other people have, I've never seen you talk about your spiritual life.
I'm actually an interfaith minister. When I had my second midlife crisis, instead of having an affair and driving a convertible, I actually went to the ministry and was able to become ordained. But I would say the other part of that, Sean, that I didn't talk about was the importance of not personalizing how my ex-wife felt about me. That she, she wanted to be happy, and it was important that I find my dignity. And I say to my patients, look, it's really a bad look when you go out on a date after a divorce and all you do is talk about how much you hate your ex or how they hurt you and so on. So it was about taking a lot of responsibility for the things I did wrong and being able to forgive the things that she did wrong. And that in addition to the word, because the gospel is all about that: forgiveness, taking responsibility, having hope, having positivity, and believing in him. All of those things brought me back.
This is like breaking news for me. I had no idea that you had that background, and I had no idea, certainly didn't know that at a certain time in your life, the Psalms brought you back. Yeah, that's amazing. Look, people, you got a Bible laying around. You might want to open it.
And it's every day. It's every day. The routine is, read my Psalms in the morning, hit the Peloton, and then get to work.
Yeah. And routines sometimes save us when we can't save ourselves. So real quick, I got 4 minutes left. I always run out of time with you. But give me some advice for couples to survive quarantine, to survive not having a job, less income. Go ahead.
First of all, be kind to one another. Be especially kind, and use that censor in your head before you say something, because these are tough times politically, financially, emotionally. The world is upside down. There's new hope now with a new president, but there are so many issues we're still dealing with. COVID-19, getting the vaccines. So we're on edge. We're not thinking about the things we say. Pause, breathe before you express a frustration to your loved one. Don't go to bed angry. But even if you do go to bed angry, just wait 5, 6, 7 hours before you express what it is that you want to say. Because when you hang out with Emmett, Emmett, time spelled backwards, that allows you to think about the things that you are experiencing, and you are not talking just based on raw emotion. But the most important thing, love your partner, show them that love, talk about that love, because this is the first aid that we need in a pandemic. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't get into, well, I don't know what your love language is. Well, make one up.
Third time tonight. Didn't see that coming. So listen, here's my last question, Dr. Jeff. And give me a 30-second. It deserves more time, but that's all I got. Who do you do this for? Like, who in your life do you get up every morning and work to help people for? Who are you working, not literally, but you know what I'm saying, spiritually, metaphysically? Who are you doing this for?
For humanity, for all of our brothers and sisters, because we are all one. I have to tell you, I have no hate in my heart for anyone on this planet, not even seeing what happened during the Capitol siege. More than anything, I felt sorrow and sadness for them. And of course, I cry for my people who deal every day with racism, bias, institutional bias, and systemic racism. So it really is about making this world a healthier and better place. And of course, has told us that if we do his work, he will bring us and give us and deliver on all of his promises.
Listen, I gotta go, but we always have such great conversations. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for coming on, Dr. Jeff.
Pleasure, Dr. Sean. Thank you, brother.
And thank you, Ashley Sharpton. This has been a great show. Tonight, I'd have did this for free. I'm glad I didn't have to, but I'd have done it for free. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Be good to each other. Dr. Jeff said, be kind to each other. And I say, I love you.